Bryson Dechambeau goes on to win the U.S. Open a few days ago. All right. Here's what's funny. Leading up to it, the commentators are shit talking. They're underhandedly shit talking this guy. Maybe I should redo this. I shouldn't use the word shit talker, because then I have to age restrict it. Do you have to age restrict the word shit? So, okay, anyway, so the deal is, I had become obsessed with Mo Norman probably about a year ago. So I read everything about him. I saw everything about him. I know everything about Mo Norman. If you want to do trivia or ask questions, believe me, I know the answers. Okay, so then I start watching golf, and they're always talking about this guy Bryson Dechambeau. They're always talking about him, and of course they're talking about how far he hits the ball and how overpowering he is. And so in a certain way, I never wanted to look into this guy because of the way the media was dealing with him, the way the golf people were talking about him. Okay, well then I start obsessively watching golf, and then pow, there I'm like, okay, there's the guy that they're talking about that I've been avoiding because they're shit talking him. And I'm like, well, I don't have any interest in watching some guy that deserves shit talking. Well, of course, as usual, the guy doesn't deserve it. It's the commentators, just like in the news with politics and the news. It's the news people that are stirring everything up. And so then you're like, and so then you make choices based on those idiots. So then I start watching, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand what they're talking about. He's not overpowering anything. What he's done is he's actually doing what Mo Norman said to do, which was, okay, now this is what's funny, because they can't congrue these two things, is that if you ask Mo Norman, do you ever think about distance when you play golf? He would be highly offended. No, of course I don't think about distance. I think only about purity of technique. That's the answer. Only purity of technique, and that is all. Never one time does Mo Norman think how far he's going to hit the ball. But the thing they're not picking up on is that through the purity of technique is the distance. That's where the distance exists, within the purity of technique. So what Bryson Dechambeau is doing is he's using the purity of technique to achieve the distance. So I don't believe that when he is on the tee that he is actually thinking about how far he's going to hit it. I do not think so. I think he's thinking about that regarding the distance he's playing. He's got to, because he's playing golf. So he has to think, okay, I want to hit it right here. That's 350 yards. So yes, he's thought 350. But when he's standing there and he's going to hit the ball, is he thinking 350? I don't think so. I think he is thinking purity of technique, which is, there's no possibility I could hit that ball 350 yards if I do not hit it exactly correctly. So now we've moved ourselves into the way that you hit the golf ball, into your actual golf. Okay, if people aren't aware what golf is, the game of golf, it's hitting the golf ball into that hole. It's COVID. Guess what? The whole time I've been back to playing golf, I have not hit a golf ball into a hole in the ground. The whole time. I'm trying to think. I'm not on any practice green. I don't think I have reached in to get the ball. Isn't that weird? Nowhere I've played golf, because they leave the cup raised and you just have to hit it. You don't go in the hole. I don't know. It's all this stuff is so crazy. Back to Bryson Dechambeau. So Bryson Dechambeau goes on to win the U.S. Open a few days ago. All right. Here's what's funny. Leading up to it, the commentators are shit talking. They're underhandedly shit talking this guy, talking about how he's going to do it his way. He says he's going to do it his way, and they claim his way is just overpowering everything. And see, that is what they're doing is they're underhandedly shit talking him. It's not really too underhanded, but then when he wins the US Open, what do all the commentators see? They say, well, now all the shit talkers can shut up because this man just won the US. It's like, what are you talking about? It's you guys that need to shut up because you're the ones that were doing that. Maybe I should redo this. I shouldn't use the word shit talker, because then I have to age restrict it. Do you have to age restrict the word shit? By the way, I've already, based on just studying up on Bryson, and this was a month or two ago, and realizing that Mo Norman was one of his main, it's like he and I are connected through our understanding of Mo Norman. I had never heard of Bryson Dechambeau, but I knew everything about Mo Norman. Then when I learned about Bryson Dechambeau, it's like, oh, it's interesting. I know a lot about him because I know he has studied up on Mo Norman. All right. So that guy wins the US Open. And one of the things is he's got a different way he does his equipment. What I was going to say is I've already bought a set of golf clubs, a set of custom-built Wish-On one-length, single-length golf clubs, single length from the 4-iron to the lob wedge, based on Bryson Dechambeau. And actually, I bought them, and then I used them, and I was like, it wasn't. They were not set up properly for me. It wasn't so much the single length as the setup. So I've already sold them, and I actually didn't make any money. So I was like, damn it, I broke it. I sold them for the same that I paid for them, but at least I had a chance to use them and try them out. So I have already tried, pardon me, I've already tried a set of single length golf clubs. But that's not something you can just jump into. He moved his way into it through precision, and so that's what I'm still doing with my set. So that's what Bryson Dechambeau is doing. He's looking at that type of stuff. When they talk about science, it's all about science. I swear to God, these people, it's science. Is that what you call science? It's just they would call science if you played pool, figuring out what weight pool stick you should be using. So here's what Bryson gets every time he hits the ball. He gets to have a satisfying golf shot. You know, a lot of times you notice on TV when he'll hit it, and they'll be like, oh my God, it's terrible. Because it's going sideways. It's going off into the woods or whatever. When the camera shows him, he's not too worried about it. Because to him, he's just hit the ball almost 400 yards. So, it's in the woods, whatever. You're 150 yards behind him, and you're in the fairway. Well, guess what? While he's looking for his ball in the woods, you can go back and hit your second shot, be next to him, and then you can hit your third shot while he's hitting his second shot. You see what I'm saying? Why not do it that way? Take the pressure off yourself. What's funny is I was watching, and I understand this pressure of hitting it so far that you could cost yourself so many shots in one hole. But he kept going, one hole after the next hole, after the next hole, after the next hole for 4 days, and it didn't happen. And I actually was watching and thinking, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to get to the last 2 holes, and then he's going to hit it so far off somewhere that it takes him 6 shots to get back. But it did not happen. It did not happen. So then the question they're going to ask, what are they going to ask? Okay, is he someone who has changed the game, or is he someone who's just some unique individual? Look, here's the answer, people. The answer is number 2. He's just a unique guy. He's just a unique guy. He hasn't changed the game any more than Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus. How about that answer? If someone asks you, hey, has Bryson Dechambeau changed the game? Then you say, he has changed the game no more than Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus. That lets the listener answer the question. You don't have to answer the question. Did Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods change the game of golf? Here's the answer. This is what you guys probably don't know that I'm meaning. The answer is no. They didn't change the game of golf. The game of golf is hitting a ball down the fairway to the green and then putting it in a hole, Adam. That is the correct way to use that. I've got a friend that makes fun of me all the time for using the word putting when I'm talking about putting something somewhere. But do you notice how when you say that I am going to put that ball into the hole, that is actually good English. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here's the point. The only people that change the game of golf are these people at the USGA that are literally over there constantly fiddling with the rules. This thing where you've got a 3-minute search rule, 18-minute tee times and a 3-minute search rule, man, it's ridiculous. But you know what? People that like to change the rules typically aren't having to be subject to the rules. The USGA people probably own a golf course where they can go and play and search for their balls as long as they want. So, the constant messing with the rules because all they can think about is pace of play, pace of play, pace of play, pace of play. Then people complain that people like Bryson just say, well, hell, I need to hit it 8,000 yards because apparently I've only got 1 hour to play 18 holes. So, makes sense. Anyway, okay. Here's what you should learn about Bryson Dechambeau. Here's what you should learn from him. You should learn that you need to, in order to be the best you can be at golf, you must do it in a systematic way of understanding. That's what these bozos call science. It's not science. It's self-awareness, people. Self-awareness is not science. So that is what you should learn from Bryson Dechambeau, is that if you possess any level of self-awareness, you can be the best at anything. Because self-awareness is what gets you to the next level. And by the way, the number of levels, see, a lot of people are looking at the levels to the US Open. Winning the US Open, they would look at all the golf tournaments that were the levels to get there. And they say, well, it took him 100 golf tournaments. I don't know how many from when he started to win the US Open. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 1 million levels that it took to understand where the lob wedge was going, where the sand wedge was going, how you should hold the face, how the lie angle should be, how you should swing through the ball, how you should hold your hands, how your leading arm should be, your trailing arm should be, what your hips should do, how you should hinge your wrists, how you should hinge your hips, where you should hold your head, whether you should move your head, and every thought that goes along with it, the understanding of rotation in the body, the understanding of hinging in the body, the understanding of how all of your hips and joints and everything work together. I could go on and on and on and on, and it's ridiculous. So it's the 1 million steps it took that guy to understand that, to get to where he was, to where he was able to have a golf game that held itself together for 4 days in a row and was better than everybody else who did it. So I'm going to shut up. I was just thinking about how basically the commentators crap talked that guy, and then right when he won, they're like, oh, those crap talkers are really going to have to shut up now. And it's like, yeah, well, I guess they won't, because next week I'm going to hear you guys crap talking. So congratulations, Bryson Dechambeau. I almost didn't know who you were because of those crap talkers in the news and media. It's a good thing that I just started watching golf tournaments to see who the best was. So, thumbs up. I'll bleep it out. Thumbs up, Bryson Dechambeau. Let's keep it up.